Dude, I think the number one takeaway is my dad never complained. Never complained about anything. Like, he would always just work hard, come home, not complain. If something wasn't done, he'd just get it done. You know, he wouldn't be like, oh, you got to do this. He would just get it done. And so I think that's my biggest thing, dude, is I just hate being around, like, negativity or people that are just
lazy.
Like, lazy or, like, I just hate that, dude. Like, when I see people like that or I'm around people like that, dude, that's when I got to go.
We rise to the top, can't stop this flow. In the heart of the jungle, we're ready, let's go. In the heart of the jungle, we're ready.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of The Roundtable here with Ben, and we got a guest, Jeremy, today. How's it going, Jeremy?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Good.
Good, man. Well, thanks for coming on, dude. I know it takes out of your schedule, and I know we're still growing, but I appreciate you coming on. I kind of mentioned to him that, you know, when I got to sit at your chair, I was like, dude, this kid's super entrepreneur right at the beginning. He kind of already owns his own shop and doing a lot of things, and so I wanted to have you on and just talk to some of those things about your story and kind of how you got into an early mindset of, you know, entrepreneurship. So I guess let's take us back. Obviously, you know, the people that don't know, what is it that you do and how you got into that occupation and entrepreneur side, man.
Yeah, before that, thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate you coming out.
But, dude, so I own the barbershop just here in Saratoga Springs. It's called the Fellas Barber Shop. So we have 10 barbershops of the Fellas. I own one of them. So how the Fellas is you can become an owner with the lady that started it. So we have a few shops down in Orem. We have one in Orem and Linden and Pleasant Grove, Spanish, Springville, Payson, just kind of more down south a little bit. But I opened up the shop. It's been like 9 months that we've been open now. And yeah, dude, I think it's been really, really good. Like, I can say that Saratoga, like, I'm super grateful that I opened it up in Saratoga compared to other cities. Just because I think Saratoga's, like, blowing up, you know, like.
Oh yeah, it's expanded big time.
So, and I think it's when a new business hits a city, so many people come and support you, and they're like, oh man, this is so cool. Like, Ben coming into the shop and supporting me. And just so many of my other clients. Like, I'm super, super blessed and thankful for everybody coming in. So,
Yeah, I love that.
So tell us a little bit of the backstory. When did you decide you wanted to be a barber? Like,
Yeah.
what were the steps leading up to that? Like, was it high school, middle school? Like, what even led you to want to be a barber to begin with?
yeah, dude. So when I first started cutting, I think I was like probably 15 years old, 15, 16. And I just started watching, like, YouTube videos. So I started watching a ton of YouTube videos. I actually got, like, a really crappy haircut at, like, Fantastic Clips or Fantastic.
one of those ones?
Yeah, so I got my haircut there, and I went home. We were actually going on a trip to go see our family that we haven't seen in years. And we went to Ross afterwards to pick up something. I'm, like, staring. You guys know how there's, like, mirrors at Ross?
Yeah.
I was, like, staring at myself in the mirror. I'm like, damn, bro, like this looks bad.
It's jacked up.
So I asked the lady to give me like an inch left, or I asked her to cut an inch off, and she left me with an inch left of hair on top.
Oh, wow.
And, like, me, I'm always been a big fan of, like, longer hair. And so, I don't know, dude, I was just, like, pissed. And I went home. I got pissed off. I grabbed clippers. I buzzed my hair. And, dude, after that, I just really started watching a lot of videos, and then going to the barbershop with some of my buddies. In high school, we'd go to this barbershop in West Valley. It's called, I can't even remember the name, but I think it was Envy's Barbershop. And I had a barber down there, and he kind of cut me up a few times. And he was like, yeah, dude, just get into cutting hair. And so I went home. I cut my first buddy's hair. Dude messed him up, completely jacked his hair up. And dude, he was actually really, like, he went to school the next day, and he was like telling everybody I cut his hair, and he's like, yeah, dude, like, this is the best haircut I ever had. And I was like, dude, don't tell people I cut your hair, bro. Like, because I jacked him up. Like,
don't tell anybody.
I gave him like a thick hard part. Like, he had like a comb over,
Uh-huh.
which you got. And I gave him like a really thick hard part. And But dude, I after he was like telling her, he's like, dude, this is the best haircut. It made me feel like, okay, dude, maybe it wasn't that bad, you know. So then from there, I just kept cutting, until in high school I was kind of scared to cut people's hair because I was just like too scared what people thought about like me cutting hair, you know, or just messing people up. So I only cut like a few people's hair, and from there, dude, I always knew I wanted to cut hair though. Like I was always telling everybody, like, yeah, I want to be a barber. I want to be a barber. And then I graduated high school, met this dude that was going to barber school, and he was like, hey, you should go to this barber school. So I went down to I was living in West Valley, and I moved all the way down to Provo to go to Paul Mitchell.
Okay.
And so I went down there. Yeah, dude, it was cool. I really enjoyed my time, honestly. Yeah. Like I met a ton of cool people, and I felt like it's kind of you know when people are telling you like, oh, dude, like I hate this, I hate that, oh, I hate high school, I hate college, whatever. It's like, dude, you make of every opportunity you're given, and so I feel like that was really important. I'm like, dude, I just love doing this. It's like anything that I've done in my life, I feel like if I just love what I'm doing, it's just gonna take me a far way.
So have you had that mindset your whole life though, or is that something that you learned high school, that the opportunities are what you make of it? Like, where did you learn that
Dude,
from?
I think I don't know. Like I feel like I've always kind of just been like, what's next? I do remember I had a time with my dad, dude. We were fixing the roof, and I was like, Dad, like I wanna. He worked for the cable company, and I'm like, Dad, when I'm older, I want to work at the cable company. And we're fixing the roof, and he stops hitting the hammer, and he's like, dude, like you don't want to work for the cable company. You have way more like goals for yourself. And so that was like a eye-opening moment to be like, shoot, dude, like what can I do, you know? So I think that was really, really cool. That was like a really cool moment in my life that I was like, all right, dude, what do I want to do? I don't want to just work for the cable company and fix people's cable. I want to, you know, impact people. So,
Well, it's crazy because even like what, I don't mean to take you back a little bit, but you talk even just when you mentioned about when you were back in school and you had your first cut, and you were talking about how you cared so much about what people were going to think about that cut that you didn't cut so many people. Yeah. And then even your first cut, you criticized or were very hard on the critique that you gave yourself. Yeah. How did you get over that part? Because barbering is a lot about, you know, obviously people are like your walking billboard. They're going to, you know, walk out in their haircut. They appreciate that. You know, we both have barbers and we walk out like, oh, you feel good, refreshed. Yeah. They make us feel good. How did you, you know, grow past that? And, you know, because now it sounds like even during that time, you still went through the steps to get the knowledge. What did you tell yourself, or what helped you drove you like past that? Because people could have stopped there. You could have just been like, I'm done. Yeah. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want people criticizing me. What can you remember back then was like, why, like, what was it about that you were just like, I'm just going to keep going?
Dude, I honestly think it was just like making people feel good. Truly, like people just being like, yeah, dude, I feel good about this, you know? And then they would talk to other people about it. And I'm like, dude, I just really like making people feel like fresh and clean. That's one thing I really, really enjoy is like, I always hype up my clients. Like, yeah, dude, you look fresh, bro. You're going to go pull a girl after this or whatever, you know? And so I think that's one thing that I really, really enjoy is just like making people just feel like they're happy. And because I know barbering too, it's like, dude, I talk to so many people every day. And barbering is like one profession that people sit down in your chair and they talk to you, and it can be positive or it could be negative, you know? And I think it's really important to every time that I talk to someone to make sure I left an impression on them, because it's like 10 years, maybe I won't be cutting these people's hair, but in 10 years they'll remember the feeling I gave them. They won't remember the haircut I gave them. Sure. And so I think that's really, really important to just be like, dude, I just want to be a positively impact guy to these people, and I think that's really, really important to me personally.
Oh, that's huge. So. I mean, going from, you know, like the Fantastic Sam's type cut to a barber, yeah, it's huge. I mean, being able to sit there and talk to my barber, and I mean, I'm sure you do it too, and there's probably things Ben's told you back and forth that you might remember walk in, you know, how's the house coming along or whatever it might be, you know, there's points I walk in and he's like, oh, how's this going? Or, hey, I saw this, or
Yeah.
you're looking good, just something. And yeah, I love that feeling when I leave the barber. Like, I mean,
I feel like the barbershop is just like community, you know, like it's like a community shop. Like there's families that come in, there's kids that bring their wives, and it's like you want everybody to feel comfortable in the shop. You don't want somebody to walk in there and be like, oh, the music's saying this or this or this. You want everybody just to feel comfortable and like confident when they're in there. And I think that's one thing that I always like try to do is I always try to hear the music and just make sure everything's clean and everybody's like vibing and having a good time. I think that's the most important thing to me. I just want people to be happy in there.
no, I like it. So after you went to Paul Mitchell, what did you do after that?
Dude, so I went to Paul Mitchell, graduated 2019 from Paul Mitchell, like the very end. And then it was like COVID.
Dreaded times.
So it was COVID, dude. So I didn't get my license for like 5 months. So
Dang.
it felt like everything bad in my life at that point was actually like just going downhill. So I was dating this girl. We broke up. And then I was living at this place out in Provo. It's called Glenwood. Shout out Glenwood. But dude, so I was living in downtown in Provo, and they evicted me actually for cutting hair. They said I was running an illegal business at Glenwood. So they evicted me, and then the next day I was working at this call center. I went into the call center, and they actually fired me.
Dang.
And so I was like, damn, bro, like this is all in just a week span. Like, what's going on? And so I moved in with my sister for like a month until I could kind of like get on my feet and find like a new apartment. And that kind of sucked, dude, honestly. But honestly, I just got through it, and then I took my tests. It took me a ton of time to take my test. I finally passed my test, and then I could get licensed. And then I got licensed. COVID hit, so most barbershops weren't really open a ton. So I was really cutting a lot of people's hair, like in the front yard. Kind of talked to Ben about it, but I cut a bunch of people's hair, just advertised like $20, $25 haircuts on Facebook Market, and we just cut people's hair outside. And then I was also working at like a shop at the time. I worked there for about a year or so, and then that's when I joined the Fellas. So I joined the Fellas in, I think 2021 is when I joined the Fellas. And then just from there, like I made a really good connection with the lady that started the whole brand. And after a few years, I think it was like a year and a half, she was like, hey, like, I came to her and I'm like, dude, I have all this money. Like, I've been saving all my money. Like, what should I do with my money? And she's like, dude, I think we should open a Fellas together. And so we ended up just having a ton of meetings about it. And then right before the shop was actually about to start, before we were supposed to sign the papers, dude, I had like this thought. I was like, dude, maybe I shouldn't do it. You know, I'm like, maybe this isn't like the best for me, you know? And so that night I like had a conversation with her, and I was actually leaning towards like not doing it.
Literally the night before?
The night before, so like the very next day or the next few days is like when we were supposed to like sign on the paper that we were gonna
start the construction.
The construction. And I was like, shoot, dude, I'm like, this is all my money I've been saving for 3-4 years, just grinding it out. I've saved all my money. And I'm like, shoot, should I do it? And so that night, dude, I was like talking to my girlfriend a ton, and I'm like, dude, what should I do? This. That night, dude, I just prayed. Like, I prayed for like 4 hours straight. Like, I fell asleep praying. The next morning, I woke up, prayed, and I was like, shoot, dude, like, I'm getting no answer, you know? And so I went into my car that morning, and I was like, just kept praying. And I have like a little Bible app on my phone, and I grabbed the Bible app, and I started scrolling on the Bible app, clicked on a verse, and I'm like, dude, this doesn't really apply to me. And I scrolled, clicked on a verse, and it said, now, son of man, take thee a sharp sword and use it as a razor upon thy head and upon thy beard. And yeah, dude. And right then and there, it was like basically just gave me like confirmation, dude. Like, dude, I got God on my side, bro. Like, we got this, you know. So, dude, it was like a really, really humbling feeling. And then from there, I just kind of opened up the shop, and I was like, dude, let's do it, you know. So
Yeah, I heard through a little birdie that you're a great saver. That you're very tight with your money. Is that accurate?
Yeah, dude.
What is it about that, or where did you gain that skill set? Like I mean, like you say, you're 20, near mid 20s, and
Yeah.
sounds like you were saving years before you were even thinking about opening a shop. I know in my early 20s, I didn't even have $500 in my name. So, how did you?
I didn't even have that. Shit, I was in debt.
Where did you gain that skill set? Like, how did you become so good with your money and finances and stuff like that?
Dude, that's like, people will always ask me that, and I don't know, dude. I've just always had the mentality of like, dude, I don't need a ton of things, you know. Like, I don't need a fancy car and fancy jewelry or this. Like, I don't really care about all that. I really do. Like, I just love seeing money like go into the bank account and be like, okay, it's growing and growing. And I think that's super, super cool. And I just really like that, honestly. And ever since a young kid, dude, I've always just saved my money. You know, like whenever I'd get money, I'd just like put it into the bank account instead of like buying things or buying clothes or shoes or whatever.
Were your parents that way at all too?
Dude, my parents were, I wouldn't say they were like crazy with saving their money, but they weren't like honestly, I'm not 100% sure, truly. But I don't think they were the best at saving money. Like, I honestly don't know 100%. Yeah.
I mean, most of us don't. I mean, I know.
Yeah, I don't know what my parents did.
I mean, I can tell you what the outside looking in my parents did, but saving money wasn't it.
Yeah.
Let's just go there. Saving money wasn't it. But so what do you think drew you and the owner so close to the point that she had faith in you?
Dude, honestly, I think me just like being there, like she's kind of told me a bunch of stuff, but she's like, dude, every time, like when I first met her, she's like, dude, you made me feel so uncomfortable for some reason. Like, where it was like a good uncomfortable, you know, where she's just like, like for some reason you just make me feel like different from other people. And so I just like talked to her, dude, and over time made like a really good connection with her. And she took me out like dirt biking one time, and she invited me to like all these like cool events, and that was a really good way for me to just like talk to her like one-on-one. And I think that was really, really cool. I think we just built a connection. She's a very down to earth person, and will really just tell you how it is, truly. And I think that was something I was really drawn to as her as like a leader. And I'm like, shoot, dude, like she just tells you how it is instead of like sugarcoat stuff. And I think that's some stuff I see in her that I'm like, shoot, dude, I want to utilize that for myself as well. So,
would you say you were one of like her top barbers at the time too?
Dude, I would say yes, for sure. Like, out of all the company, I would say me and a few other people, definitely.
I mean, obviously she saw something in you. She's like, I want to open a store with you.
Yeah.
But
when you started barbering, did you have any idea that you would go down the route of like eventually being part of like owning your own shop? Was that always kind of the play, or is it something that just kind of evolved into?
Yeah, dude, I think that was definitely something I would tell people. It's like, yeah, I want to open up my own shop, and I would always just manifest it, you know. I'm going to open up my own shop and like and have it how I want it to be. So that's definitely something that I've always prioritized and wanted, for sure.
So when you were did you search out the location that you're in, or was it something she brought up to you? Like, hey, what do you think about Saratoga? How did that all come about to opening in this area?
Yeah, dude. So me and my lady, we actually pulled up to, we were just going to a bunch of like locations in Saratoga, and we pulled up to the shop over here, and we like looked inside the window, and I was like, dang, this is pretty sweet, you know. And I just took pictures of it, took pictures of the like the builder, like the contractor, and I took pictures of it, and then we reached out to him, and then the week after we went to the building. So I think we saw it Friday night. We went to the building Thursday, checked it all out. The next Thursday is when we got the building, like to eventually like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We hadn't signed on the paperwork yet, but we had like, okay, we're gonna put in for it. So it was like a really, really quick process, and I looked at probably maybe 3-4 different buildings, but that one I just was like, right when I saw it, I like fell in love with it, honestly, and I didn't even know how it was gonna look. Like I was like, man, this place is tiny. That's what I thought at first. I'm like, man, this place is so tiny. It's so small. And now I'm in there and I'm like cleaning the floors. I'm like, dang, dude, this place is like too big. Like,
So you had full control of how it's like decorated and everything, or did
yeah,
Fellas
dude, so
have
I definitely
much?
had a take in how it was decorated. Like I basically said like everything that I wanted, and then we had a designer, and she kind of designed a lot of
Yeah, okay.
the details of it. But definitely like the barber chairs, and like the big fella sign and the furniture and everything, like the pool table we put. I kind of had like my take into it for sure.
So Fellas didn't have a whole lot. I mean, you more or less have their name and
Yeah.
some of their connection with being in the Fellas, but overall, it's the way you've designed it, the way you kind of want it to be.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely. Like we got pretty cool mural in there like a few weeks ago, and that was something that I just came up with, found some pictures, and was like, hey, let's get this all
Yeah, it's pretty
taken
sick.
care of.
Big old American flag and a lion, right?
It's a lion, yeah. It's
I
pretty-
like it.
Pretty sweet, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, so
If it's good.
I'll take you back a little bit too. We started in the very beginning. We started talking about what drove you to start your kind of entrepreneur kind of mindset. Your dad kind of having that conversation when you're doing the roof.
Yeah.
So would you say that your dad was a big influence in the way that you like approached like your career and the way that you do business? Would you say he's a big role model in that sense, or did you? And on top of that, are there any other like mentorship is like a buzzword, but are there any other role models or mentors that you look at in your field now that drive you to continue to grow and
Yeah.
expand your business?
Yeah, dude, I definitely think my dad, he's my number one mentor for sure. My dad's a very like sweet, gentle-hearted guy. He'll tell you what's wrong, but he will do it in more like a very sentimental way. Like he's not gonna yell at you for it. He just sit you down, talk to you, and so I definitely think my dad's definitely like a huge, huge, huge mentor. Like even before I started barbering too, me and him were talking, and he was like asking me like what I wanted to do, and I was like, I think I want to be a barber, and he's like, yeah, like at the time too, barbering really wasn't like a huge thing back in 2018. It really was like it was still such a growing business. But at the time, dude, it was like not a ton of people were even barbers. And he was like, yeah, like whatever you put your mind to, like I'm gonna like follow you, and I'm gonna support you and be there for you. And so I definitely think him telling me that was a huge thing, because I think a lot of parents, they really will tell their kids like, oh, I want you to do this and this and this and this and this, because they're living through them. But for him, I feel like he's trying to live through me, and I think that's something that's really, really cool.
Yeah,
And I'm super grateful for him, and I freaking love him. So
I was gonna say, it sounds like he gave you the full support all the way
Yeah, dude.
through.
yeah, 100%. He gave me so much support. Like I don't talk to my dad as much anymore. They live out of the country, but yeah, dude, he definitely like supported me my whole life. Whatever I did, whatever I put my mind to, he was always like my number one supporter. Like if I played sports in Little League, he would be like, when you first start, you're like, dude, I suck.
Yeah.
Like all these kids are way better than me. And he would like sit me down and be like, dude, I think you're like one of the best players on your team. And I'm like,
Dang.
what are you talking about? Like, dude, I'm like thinking in my head that I suck. And he's telling me that I'm good. And it gave me the opportunity to, get better and to help me. If I fail, I knew I was going to fail, but I knew I was going to get better and get back up and be better. So
He instilled a lot of confidence in you.
yeah, dude, a ton of confidence, like so much confidence just for me to like be like, all right, dude, what can I do? You know, how can I be better? How can I be better? How can I be better? So, but mentorship, dude, I think I definitely have a ton of mentors. Like my business partner, I think she's a great mentor to me. I also think like Kobe Bryant, dude, I think he's a huge mentor.
Yeah.
Just like hearing his story, dude.
Yeah, that's
I think he's a huge mentor, just like of working hard. So I definitely think I have a ton of great mentors, and I think I meet people all the time, and I see something in them that I'm like, oh shoot, dude, like I want to take something from them to better myself. Like even seeing like Ben's house, I'm like, damn, bro, like I want my house like this, you know? So I think it's like really cool, dude. Like I think it's really cool to like meet people, dude, that really want to see you succeed and are super like happy when you succeed, instead of like, oh dude, like they don't really care, like this, that, or the other. So yeah, dude, I think mentorship is like definitely really helped me for sure.
Well, let me back up on, because it sounds like your dad's a big part of who you are. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
How much do you know about your dad, and like how he grew up, and how has that like influenced your life? Because it sounds like me, and I've always asked him, I always ask our guests and even friends that I have, like, because I grew up without a dad, so I'm like, I was like, what was your experience with your dad? Like, what did your dad teach? Because there's a lot of moments and a lot of things that fathers teach their sons, and daughters, and all that stuff. But specifically for you, it sounds like your dad was a big part of your life, especially in the growth that you have and the things that you're doing. Is there something that stands out about your dad that you're like, dang, like if there's one thing I can emulate, what would that be? And you know, how has that impacted your life now?
Dude, I think the number one takeaway is my dad never complained. Never complained about anything. Like he would always just work hard, come home, not complain if something wasn't done. He'd just get it done. You know, he wouldn't be like, oh, you gotta do this. He would just get it done. And so I think that's my biggest thing, dude, is I just hate being around like negativity or people that are just
lazy.
Like lazy, or like I just hate that, dude. Like when I see people like that, or I'm around people like that, dude, that's when I gotta go. Because I'm like, dude, I also like, there's a lot of the saying that you become with the people that you hang out with. And I feel like in my life, I've hung out with a lot of people that are like just way different mindsets than me. And I feel like I've never became that. I've always just stuck to it and gone to the straight line. And so I definitely think like with my dad, dude, he always like instilled that in me, you know, like work hard, be a hustler, you know, like, and he always was there, dude. Whenever something was going on, he was always there for me, you know, from the get. And he would never try to like miss any of my events or sport games or whatever I would do. He's always like one of the first people that's there, and would always be like, oh, dude, you did this, you made this happen. And I'm like, shoot, dude, like making me feel like I'm like Tom Brady or something, dude. Like,
do you feel like you use some of the skills and like the way that your dad sounds like a very empathetic person with a huge heart. Do you implement those styles into your leadership? Obviously, you run your team at your barbershop. Do you use some of those techniques and some of those things that you learned from your dad to you know, also coach and lead some of your team members within your shop as well? Do you see a lot of that?
Yeah, dude, I definitely think I'm more of like I definitely say I'm more of like lead by example kind of leader for sure. And as well as if there's something going on, I'll just talk to him and be like, hey, but I'm more gentle about it. I'm not going to be like, dude, you messed this up, you made this happen. Like, I'm more like, hey, let's talk about it. See what we can solve so that this doesn't happen again. So I'll really sit down with them, talk with all of them, and just see where they're at as well. But I do realize like that people are going through something every day, you know, if it's them versus themselves or them versus their family situation, whatever it is, dude. Like, I'll really try to understand that before I even try to be more coachable to them. I'll just understand like where their head is that day, and then I'll kind of go from there. So
You got quite the mind for a 25-year-old, honestly.
I'm
over here like, shit, at 25, I was worried about my kid being born or, going on a freaking vacation or some shit. Like, I wasn't thinking, I mean, I didn't run anything at that point. I mean, I was just a worker in the cog, just grinding every day. But that mindset, I mean, that's more of a mindset I'm in now than I was at 25. And I just have to say that's impressive.
Yeah, dude. Appreciate that.
I don't know what led you to get to that point, but it sounds like your dad was a huge part of that. It sounds like you just had support, and that mindset's insane. You're gonna go somewhere.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate that.
Like, that's what got you into reading all the like self-help books? I mean, we have a bunch behind you, and you were pointing out a bunch. Oh, I love this one, that one. Like, who gave you your first one, or when did you decide, I'm gonna start going down this path?
Dude,
Like,
so
do you remember?
Yeah, dude. When I was younger, I hated reading books. Like, I thought books were for like
Nerds.
yeah, exactly, dude. Like, I was like, oh, dude, I stayed away from every book. And then I kind of got older, dude. Like, probably I think I was 20, dude, when I read my first the book is You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And that was the first book I read, and it made me realize that I'm like, dude, you can really control your mind. Like, all of the thoughts that are going through your mind every single day, you can really just trigger down and be like, dude, I can control all of these. If something's negative or something's bad or positive even, dude, like, just honing in and be like, all right, dude, what's the next move? What can I do? But strategically, like, figuring it out instead of just, like, full sending it, So I think I'm more of, like, a thinker instead of just, like, all right. Like, I love schedules, dude. Like, I got to be on my schedule, or, like, I feel like the whole day's kind of, like, thrown off a little bit. And I'm like, shoot, dude, now I'm behind schedule. Today might suck, dude, but I'm going to get through it. But then I always am like, dude, like, you control everything that you do, Like,
for sure.
Like, people, when people really tell you, like, dude, you can do whatever you want to do with your life, I 100% agree with that, because you control every single thing you do.
Every action has an equal or opposite reaction, whether it's good or bad, and that depends on how you act or react to the situation.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I was just going to ask, because you talked about David.
Yeah.
And David's like, gosh, man, I listened to him during COVID too. He was like the whole thing when I started to kind of get into discipline. And you talk about, your schedule and how consistent. So, based on with your schedule and the things that you do, how important is it, or was it, to keep that consistency and discipline for the things that you do? Because I keep going back to this, like, I feel like barbering is super hard to, because it's really like all our work, but specifically a barber. People literally walk around all day, like, with you, like, you're the brand. People come up to me, oh, your haircut looks clean. Like, oh, not always shot, like, oh, I got a barber. His name is this. Check him out on Instagram. That's just me. And so, but how important is it for you to maintain that consistency and that discipline in the craft that you do with your schedule and everything, to grow, and, like, because that's what he talks about. Discipline your mind, being consistent. How important is it to you to have that consistency and discipline in your schedule every single day? Because I'm sure you're booked up, every single day. You still have spent time with your girlfriend. You still spend time with your family, friends. How do you manage and balance all that? Balance is a hard word, but
Yeah. Dude, I think my life's just consistent, dude. Like, everything I do, I just have a routine, I gotta do my routine every single day. And I get home and I'm like, all right, dude, like, time to repeat it again. Like, sometimes I even will tell my lady, I'm like, dude, I just wish that we had, like, 2 more hours in the day, dude, so that we could just do more things, But, dude, I think scheduling, dude, I think scheduling is just so important to, like, map out everything that you're doing, or you're just going to get lost, Same with, like, if an event is coming up or this is coming up, like, if you don't write those down and put it in your calendar, dude, you're not going to remember that,
Yeah.
And so I definitely think it's super, super important to just, like, be on top of your schedule as much as you can.
Have you always been like that? Before barbering? Were you good, were you good with, like, scheduling stuff out? Is that who you're intrinsically are, or is it something that you kind of learned over time?
Dude, I think I just hate being late to things. Like,
It's not a bad habit, honestly.
Yeah. I just don't, at least like 100% work, dude. I even like asked Ben the other day when I was cutting his hair, because he comes into the shop. If his appointment is whatever his time is, if it's at 11 or 12, he'll walk into the shop on time every single time. So I was like, asking him, like, you ever late to anything?
I can tell you the answer is yes.
and he's like, family events? Yeah, I mean,
I'm Mexican, dude. That's just what we do.
I was going to say that the family that we married into is not the most punctual at events when we do family get-togethers. But no, if it's something, I mean, we did golf, and yeah, they were like a half hour early.
That's different, though.
But they were like, we're going to go to the driving range. Yeah. I'm like, well, shit, if I'd have known. But yeah, no, he's pretty punctual when it comes to certain things.
Yeah, dude.
If it's important to me.
I got a question for you. How hard was it for you? So how many barbers do you have, first of all? You and how many more?
Dude, so I have 6 barbers.
So how hard was it for you to find like-minded people to work with you?
Dude, it's honestly, that's probably the toughest thing about the whole job, is like finding people that you are going to fit your culture, and people that are really going to just want to work, truthfully. Like, I think there's a lot of barbers in the industry, just the beauty industry in general. A lot of people are just like, think it's super easy. They're just like, oh, dude, like if I work 2 days a week, full time, I'm going to be completely booked out. It's like, dude, it's a grind. You know, you got to be doing it every day, you know. And so I think that's definitely one of the hardest things for sure, dude, is like interviewing people and you're like, I don't know about this person. But I also think there's a lot of people that in this industry, they're very scared of like the barber shop vibe, because maybe they come from like a different vibe. If it's like an hourly paid job, where it's like a barbershop, it's more like you're only getting paid when you're cutting hair. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people, they're really hesitant about that, and that's kind of one thing. Like I'll tell all of them, dude. This is somebody that told me before I opened my shop. It's take the risk or lose the chance, and I think that's always kind of just like, that's what I'll tell them, dude. Like if you don't want to work here and grind, go work at somewhere else. Go work at Sport Clips or Great Clips, whatever. But working here, you're gonna make probably double the money that you're making, but you got to grind just a little bit harder. Once you grind and you get all those clients coming into you, then it's like a breeze from there. You know, you just cut in and you're making really good money, and your schedule's filling out. You know, so I think that's one of the hardest things, dude, is because there's a lot of people that I've realized, dude, that they just don't care.
Yeah.
Like for me, dude, I just feel like I care about it so much, you know, and when I see somebody not caring, I'm like, oh, dude, why don't they care as much as me?
I mean, it's hard because ultimately your name's on the business when it comes down to it. You're the one that signed all the paperwork. You want to care about that.
Yeah.
You want to put your passion into it. It sounds like you have. I mean, from everything I've heard from him and today, sounds like you've put everything in there. From start to now, what would you say is the hardest thing? From signing the paperwork on your shop to today, what would you say has been the hardest thing? Hiring people or getting the clients in the door?
Dude, I think that's a great question. I really think hiring people. I think that's the biggest one. I think if a client comes into the shop, there's a lot of ways that you can retain that person. There's many ways that you should be able to retain that person. There's a lot of even sales techniques that I've taught my barbers, you know, to keep these people coming back to you. But it's really just up to them to actually make that happen. Because I know with me, if somebody's coming to me the first time, dude, I'm going to retain that person. You know, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to retain that person. But for maybe a barber that's younger, somebody that has less experience, it's really like just sitting down with them, training them over and over and over and over. And I think that's the biggest thing about owning like a business is it's like you just got to – it's like you're telling somebody over and over and over till it just clicks in their head. You know, that they're like, oh, they want me to do this, you know. But you should really just want to do that for yourself, truly.
Do you do a lot of trainings with them? Like,
Dude, so
I don't know what days you guys are open.
Yeah.
Is it Monday through Saturday?
Monday, so we're open Monday through Sundays.
Monday through Sunday. So you got guys working there right now.
Yeah, so we close at 2 on Sundays. I don't even know what time it is, but I think
1.
1. So yeah, the shop is open right now.
So do you do like trainings with them? Like get together with them? Like, hey, next Sunday at 3 or 2 when we close, we're gonna go over some training. Do you ever do stuff like that with them?
Dude, so I'll do a lot of one-on-one trainings.
Okay.
Because I feel like when you train as a big group,
It's hard.
it can get a little bit harder because people are like, maybe there's side conversations going on or whatever. But one-on-one, it's just like you're just talking to them initially. You know, that was actually from Unreasonable Hospitality. He talks about that a lot. Will, he talked about that a lot, and then he also talks about team meetings. How team meetings are really, really important, and that if you know you mess up as manager, an owner, or whatever, like telling your team, dude, I messed up. I'm sorry for this. Hopefully you guys still trust me and believe in me. But from here, I'm moving forward and I'm not looking back, you know. But dude, I haven't had like a meeting like that quite yet. I think that will eventually happen. It's bound to happen.
I was gonna say it's bound to happen.
But dude, I'll sit down with them, dude, and talk with them for like an hour. We'll do a training. Not every week, but I'm trying to do it at least like once a month with everybody. And then also I'll train with them like on the floor. Well, like we're cutting hair. If it's like a haircut that somebody's not used to doing, I'll be like, hey, come watch me, and I'll do the haircut. So I'll do that as well. And then it's just sitting, or it's just talking to them. If they don't have a client, they're sitting and I'm cutting or whatever. It's just like talking to them, asking them questions. And also after work, dude, I'll sit and talk with them, you know, for a little bit, and just see like how their day was going and if they felt like they were stressed or overwhelmed. Because that's just bound to happen in the industry, dude. Like when you're behind, everybody's been there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When you're waiting for your barber and you're like, shoot, dude, it's been like 15 minutes, like.
So,
the haircut.
With barbering, I feel like, well, first, I feel like it sounds like culture is very important to you, right? Because it's your shop. You have an extrinsic and intrinsic value to the shop, right? It's important to you, and you try to communicate that to your team members and try to have them have the same extreme ownership that you have for the shop as well. But I also think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there's also a lot of turnover within that industry. Is that about accurate?
Yeah.
You know, they move around a lot depending on the barbershop. I mean, how do you build culture, but also not get so tied into every single member, because you know at some point they either grow to have their own shop, or grow enough where they're move to a different one. So how are you balancing that, building that strong culture, but also knowing that I can't hold on too tight to these people because I also want them to grow and do their own thing.
Dude. Yeah, I think that's like a very tough thing, right? Because you see like barbers that you're like, dude, I wish you would work with me forever. Like you're such a cool guy, you know. But that's something that I always tell them too. Like, hey, like, let's get you to a level, and then let's open up a shop together, you know. So that's something that I always like preach to them. Hey, when do you think you want to open up a shop? Like, I think I have a few barbers now that I feel pretty confident, that I'm like, shoot, I could see them opening up a shop one day. But I think culture, dude, is like created. I don't feel like you create the culture a ton. Like your people really create the culture, and you just add to the culture. And of course, like there's always going to be people that are cultural boosters, and there's always going to be people that are like this fucking negative Nazis, you know.
Yeah.
Have you had to deal with any of those yet?
Yeah, dude. I've had.
I was gonna say I don't know how much turnover you had to this point.
Dude,
Is it a lot or?
Dude, I haven't had a ton of turnover. Like I've had, I guess in 8 months, dude, I've had three people leave, or I guess 2 people get fired, and then one person did leave, But I don't think we've had a ton of turnover just because the shop has been pretty busy for the barbers. And so, not a ton of crazy turnover, dude, but like this industry, like there's so much turnover, dude. Like in the industry that we're in, dude, people will think, okay, 3 months, dude, after 3 months I'm gonna be completely booked out. But you're not even going the extra mile for your people. You know, you're not even like putting aftershave on their neck or like anything like that, you know? Like I think people really see when somebody goes above and beyond for them, and people really see that and they're like, oh dude, like this person actually cares about like how I look, you know?
I was gonna say, it sounds like, I mean, even just offering them a water, he had mentioned that your first interaction is like, hey, do you want a water or something, like stuff like that. My wife's in the beauty industry also, and she does that same thing. I mean, she's got drinks and snacks downstairs ready for all her girls that come in. You know, that as somebody that goes to a barber too, like that kind of stuff is awesome. Yeah. I mean, I went in and was talking to mine about a drink. He's like, grab one on your way out. I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like, I'll pay for it. He's like, no, it's on me. Take it. Like that stuff goes above and beyond. It sounds like from what he's told me, that's what you're doing. You're taking that extra step and going that extra mile for all these people. Yeah. Making sure they leave happy. And like you said, you're going to retain them. You're going to do everything you can to retain them to come back.
Yeah, dude. I think hospitality is like the biggest thing in the industry, you know?
I mean, shy of you being out here, I mean, that's the only thing I'm like, damn, I don't want to drive to Saratoga every time. I mean, I come out here once a week anyways, but...
You're good, bro. Come out and get your haircut.
I was going to say, I might have to.
Yeah, dude, please do.
So we talked about you know, you had a lot of leavers. As the leader, how do you not take that personal? Because I know when I was early in my career as a leader, man, if people quit, people criticized me on the way that I led, oh man, I took that to heart. And it stunted a lot of growth during that period. And I'm just wondering if you've moved past that, or is it something you're still working on to not take it as personal when somebody leaves or quits or criticizes you?
Yeah, dude, I think if somebody leaves, quits, I'm definitely going to take it a little personal.
Okay.
Because I'm like, shoot, dude, I feel like I've provided all the resources for you and you still are like kind of being that way. But I do think if people don't agree with you or they like, you know, maybe talk shit about you, whatever it is, dude, I really think I've realized like, dude, people just envy you, really, just because you're in that situation. And I think I've always kind of realized that is if somebody's really going to sit and be negative towards you, dude, like, who cares, you know? Like, this is why I'm in this position and you're not in this position, because I've been hustling, you know? Like, if you're doing the same thing and then you came to say to me and came to criticize me and say, hey, by the way, like, this, then I think I would be more open-minded to being like, okay, I do see that, you know? So
yeah, if the lady that started it came and told you something, you'd take it a lot differently than if one of your barbers that's working for you said something.
And I definitely will tell all my barbers, like, if there's anything that you see or that you want me to do to change or anything you see, like, just let me know. Just come talk to me and tell me. Don't just, like, come to the back and be like, oh, Jeremy was upset that I took a walk in or whatever it is, you know? Like, I don't think it's really that important, you know? Like, to just talk about people negatively is like, there's no reason behind it, truthfully.
There's no win in it either.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, honestly.
You're wasting your breath on something that you could literally be doing something else.
Have you had a lot of them come up to you and mention things to you?
Dude, I've never had one of them ever say anything, which sometimes I'm like, dude, are these guys like being honest or like, because I'm like, just tell me, you know?
Feedback's important.
Yeah, feedback's important.
Sounds, from everything I can gather, sounds like you're very open to if they were to come up and be like, hey, if we change the music to this or something, you would be open to at least trying it.
Oh, for sure.
To see if it made a difference.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, if a situation like that happened, dude, I'd be like, dude, I don't care. Just change the music, you know, make it.
That's just a small. That was just the first
you know.
thing I could think of, to be honest with you. But because it sounds like your vibe, your colors, your culture, your vibe is pretty on point. with the
Yeah.
mural and everything that I've heard. So definitely gonna have to come check you out.
It's like a shifting on like a positive. Is there something that, is there a client or just a specific moment from one of your clients that really sticks out to you that was like that had a positive impact on your growth? Is there anything
Yeah,
that happened in the past?
Dude, I think honestly, like a lot of my clients, dude, they'll give me so much like advice on my life, and I feel like when they're telling me stuff, it makes me feel like I'm getting smarter, dude, because they're actually like they've been through it already. But yeah, dude, I've had a lot of like customers, dude, that have told me very personal things, and it I feel like they're like family at the end of the day, you know. Well, they'll tell me something, I'm like, shoot, dude, that's crazy. Whatever. How can we get you through it?
Does that
dude,
drain you? So I don't mean to cut you off. Does that drain you?
dude, sometimes it does drain me a little bit, but I will say, like, I mean, when people are coming to you to get a haircut or just service done, like, I feel like that should be something that you don't take for granted. You're like, dude, these people, this is their time to hang out, vibe. I'm also vibing, hanging out with them too. We're having a good time talking or just sitting there hanging out, you know. So I do think sometimes it can be draining where it's like, all right, dude, like maybe I'll feel drained at the end of the day, you know, but I don't think conversations really drain me out a ton. I think it's just like negative people really will drain me out more. But yeah, dude, sorry, what was the other question you said before that?
So it was primarily about your clients.
Clients,
Yeah.
yeah.
So was there like a client or specific moment that you remember that was like had a big impact on your, I guess your success or the way that you operate on a consistent basis?
Dude, I think like just the support really, like of clients when I'm like, hey, I'm coming up to Saratoga Springs, cutting from Springville where it's 40 minutes away, you know.
Dang.
And seeing people drive all the way up here. I also have had a lot of clients just tell me like, dude, like, I'll support you. I'm going to support you wherever you go. I think one thing Ben told me one time though, I think it was like 2-3 haircuts ago. He's like, dude, I think like whatever you do with your life, like you're going to make it big, you know. And dude, that was actually one of the first times anybody's ever told me that. And I went home and I was like, damn, like I was literally sitting on the couch just thinking about it. And I told Bradley about it. I'm like, dude, like it's cool to see that even if it's just one person that they support you, it's so cool, dude, you know? So cool that one person will support you and tell you something, even if you don't even got that belief in yourself, you know? And I think that's really, really, really cool, even from Ben or just really any of my customers that have came in. Like, I think they all really support me a lot, so.
Oh, yeah, man. I think, you know, growing up as we kind of started getting, you know, growing in our journey, I think it's important to tell you those things to people that you really see potential. And sometimes, like you said, it's so hard to believe in yourself just because of all the stuff that, you know, we're either intrinsically in the growth and the grind. But I say that from the bottom of my heart. I think, you know, no matter what you do, you're gonna be successful, whatever venture you choose to go down, whether it be you grow this business to its full potential, you expand on it, or you choose to do something else. I think you're light years ahead of where I was at your age, and I know what we got going on in the background, and I can see the way that you carry yourself as a true leader. That translates to any industry, any business, any personal life. Like, people seek that, and I think the universe or God or whatever, you know, rewards you in the heart that you have, and I can see you got a big heart. So I think that just I do mean that though, yeah, for sure.
Just a little bit. I've learned about you today and talking with him before you got here. Yeah, I mean, I can already tell, like you said, you're light years ahead of where we were at that point. I mean, and I can already tell you're thinking of the next step and how to get bigger, how to get better, and all of it. I mean, just sitting here, I can tell that your mind's already thinking of everything that you could do better, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you're definitely going somewhere.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate that.
Well, to end it out, everyone, we give them a challenge.
Yeah.
So what what do you think is one of the most important things you've done in your life that you could challenge the viewers with? Whether it's discipline, whether it's routine, and any of
mindset, whatever.
Yeah, whatever helps you the most, challenge them to do that.
Dude, I think I'll challenge everybody to just wake up and give yourself good words of affirmation. If you're feeling low or you don't feel confident in yourself, just believe in yourself. You know, make sure that you're telling yourself that you can do it, because you really can do it. You know, so I think that's probably one of the biggest things for sure, is just believing in yourself. Once you believe in yourself, you instill belief in other people. So I think that's probably the biggest one I'll give them.
I like it.
I love it, man. Well, I want to give you some time to plug in. I know you got some events coming up. So just, hit on, obviously, you look at the camera, tell them what
you got going on.
What you got going on the next couple of months, and then talk about, where they can find you at, man, where the shop is, and share all your stuff,
dude.
man.
Dude, so this Tuesday, actually, we're hosting an event. It's like a career fair kind of event. I'm having two of my good buddies in the industry, Steve-O and Paul. They're coming. They're going to be hosting a class for us. We'll be having food, some drinks. It will kind of just be a cool way for people to hang out and see the shop. And then we'll be in the parade, Saratoga Parade. I think it's June 3rd. That'll be a great way to even see us as well. And then our shop is located in Saratoga Springs. It's 2179 North, Redwood Road. And then the shop is the Fellas Barber Shop. So
Cool.
And we'll have all those links too.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll link up all that stuff on social media. Make sure that we get the word out for your shop, and then for the events you got coming up, we'll be happy to promote those for you and try to get some people to get there. So, yeah, man, we appreciate you, bro. Really, thank you for the insights, man. You really are a sharp individual. And I know, one day we'll look back like, damn, we got to sit with this guy, for for a few minutes and have a cool conversation. So we appreciate you coming through, man. We really do.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for inviting me, dude.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for taking time out of your Sunday, and
Yeah.
we appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
The Roundtable Podcast, where we talk to our personal growth, struggles, and journey.